In Mexico, every column of black smoke was a warning.
Arson attacks and shootings have spread through several cities. Puerto Vallarta's international airport has been affected.
Over the weekend, the Mexican military attempted to capture one of Mexico's most wanted, the leader of arguably its most dangerous cartel, Jalisco New Generation. But instead of capturing the man known as El Mencho, they killed him.
7 members of the cartel died altogether. We understand as well that police officers and other members of the cartel were injured in this shootout.
So everywhere there were warnings, acts of loyalty and vengeance. Entire buses commandeered, then set on fire. Shops and schools shuttered, resort towns becoming ghost towns. Everything is shut down, a Canadian in Puerto Vallarta told CBC News. Gunfire, burning cars, confusion, and chaos. In Guadalajara, the international airport in disarray. Flights were canceled, travelers unsure where to go. And violence was widespread. Reportedly, hundreds of blockades across more than 20 Mexican states, all because of one operation turned deadly.
Fire, smoke, and chaos across several Mexican states.
Violence erupted across the country, closing airports, schools, and public transport.
How can so much of Mexico burn over one man? I'll show you. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, has spent the better part of the last 20 years building the criminal empire known today as Jalisco Nueva Generación. Jalisco New Generation, named after the Mexican state where they're based. Remember this map showing how widespread the retaliation has been for El Mencho's death? Well, it also hints at something else, which is how widespread this cartel's operations really are.
It's based out of the state of Jalisco, but it's got really tentacles throughout. Its presence extends to at least 15, possibly as many as 17, 18 states. They control mayors, they control some governors, they control a lot of functionaries and bureaucrats throughout. They have the power to intimidate people. They have all kinds of ears within the police forces. They have individuals that leak information to them.
Jalisco is everywhere and, in a way, everything. Drugs are its primary business. Methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl. But the cartel has also expanded heavily into what's known as huachicol, stealing oil.
Every day, 17,000 barrels of fuel are stolen in Mexico. Most is taken directly from the state oil company's pipelines, drilled into by criminal networks, large and small, throughout the country.
This is a known and increasingly significant source of income for an empire thought to have assets in the billions of dollars. Tapping pipelines and stealing and smuggling oil across national borders, that's a piece of that pie. And it's not just the wide base of criminal activity that sets Jalisco apart. This is a cartel also known for its criminal governance.
We're now talking about the fact that the cartel itself seems to have picked candidates for office, financed their campaigns, and then now controls effectively many municipalities and many different places and territories within Mexico. So they seem to co-govern with certain local governments and even some state governments.
It's a mistake to think of Jalisco as simply a sophisticated gang. It's more an extremely violent, almost militarized conglomerate. It does not always operate in the shadows. It is sometimes unmasked. CJNG, Cartel Jalisco New Generation. They have branding, but also bulletproof vests, high-caliber guns, armored vehicles, and drones modified to drop explosives, to the point where the Mexican military has deliberately armed itself to stop them. And Jalisco is not only capable of fighting the Mexican state directly, it actively does.
Mexico's government claims the New Generation cartel of Jalisco used rocket-propelled grenades last Friday to bring down this army helicopter, killing 6 soldiers.
The 2015 downing of a Mexican military helicopter was both deadly and incredibly brazen. It was a sign at the time of a relatively new cartel in Mexico quickly becoming one of its most dangerous. And that was more than 10 years ago.
Well, the downing of the helicopter is part of a wider communication of sorts. That is, we're going to demonstrate that we have the capacity to inflict significant cost on the government.
They have the capacity to really enter into a type of war with the Mexican government. You know, the capacity is so important.
Since then, and even before then, they've had nothing short of a meteoric rise.
There are well-documented examples of cartels like Jalisco handing out food and supplies to Mexicans during times of need. You see those initials again. This reads, "On behalf of your friends," from the CJNG. They often talk about bringing order to Mexico.
Well, so this plays to the criminal diversification, where the absence and the effective absence of the state. Now, I don't just mean police or the military. What I mean is there's the entire civil services and all the public services, education and healthcare that you would expect from the government aren't present. And so as a result, in the absence of the state, we've seen these groups come in and rival the state.
But Jalisco also relies on fear and the threat of violence. Consider this 2023 study examining how Jalisco operates more as a paramilitary government than a conventional cartel. We won't show them to you, but they mention videos distributed through social media that show decapitations and dead bodies displayed in public spaces.
They use a strategy that is not new to them or not new to the organized crime space, known as plata or plomo. Plata or plomo simply means silver or lead. You either cooperate or you die, or you at least face extreme violence, as gruesome as it is.
El Mencho was the head of Jalisco. This made him one of the most powerful and consequential criminals in the entire country. When Trump says the cartels, not the president, are running Mexico,
the cartels are running Mexico,
he's arguably talking about one cartel and the one man who runs it.
It's probably the most violent group, or right now, the most well-known and the most extended one, even more than the Sinaloa cartel.
There's a very good argument to be said that they rank number one. They are present in the vast majority of Mexico's 32 states. They have demonstrated a willingness to use extreme violence in a way that has now defined the Mexican organized crime landscape.
The head of Jalisco is now dead, killed in a firefight, dead from his injuries while in the custody of the Mexican military. What we don't know is how much of the show of loyalty and defiance we've seen in Mexico since his death, how much that gives way to groups like Jalisco getting weaker or stronger.
Groups like the Sinaloa cartel and other cartels may see it as an opportunity to seize more power, to seize more resources, and seize trafficking routes, for example. What remains to be seen is the extent to which the CJNG struggles internally to see who is the replacement, because that is not yet clear, and of course the extent to which they bring the fight to other possible competitors.
Right now, both the Canadian and American governments list Jalisco as a terrorist group. U.S. intelligence calls it one of the most powerful and violent cartels in Mexico. El Mencho's death weakens it for now, but to exactly what extent and whether it reforms as something more dangerous is really anyone's guess.